Donald Trump built an empire on the promise of winning. But what if behind the gold-plated facade, some of his biggest ventures weren't just failures, they were disasters? From overpriced steaks to a university scandal, these weren't just missteps. They were emblematic of a much bigger problem. And stick around because the final business flop on this list might just surprise you. Let's dive into the insane truth behind Trump's most spectacular business flops. Trump's empire is built on bold promises and larger-than-life headlines. But behind every flashy launch and every headline, there's a side that's often overlooked. A side filled with ventures that didn't just stumble, but collapse spectacularly. From failed education programs to luxury products that no one wanted, these aren't just business flops. They're tales of ambition gone awry. Let's begin with a venture that promised to make everyday people as successful as the man himself, Trump University. It's the perfect case study in how Trump's golden touch sometimes turned things to dust. Let's go back to 2005. Fresh off the success of The Apprentice, Donald Trump was seizing every opportunity to cash in on his heightened fame. Always on the lookout for the next big thing, he launched Trump University, a bold venture promising to share the secrets of his real estate empire with anyone willing to pay. The pitch was irresistible. Personal insights from the king of deals himself.
At Trump University, we teach success.
Who wouldn't want that? But as eager students filled hotel ballrooms expecting to unlock the secrets of real estate success, the cracks quickly started to show. The university wasn't accredited, and the so-called hand-picked experts were far from the real estate moguls they were advertised to be. One student recalled paying thousands for a seminar where the instructor spent more time upselling other courses than actually teaching anything valuable. It wasn't education, it was a sales pitch wrapped in the promise of Trump's golden touch. As more stories like this surfaced, Trump University became emblematic of something bigger. The gap between Trump's promises and the disappointing reality. High tuition fees and vague seminars left many in debt and disillusioned. By the time the lawsuits started piling up, it was clear that this wasn't just a failed business, it was a scandal. In 2016, Trump settled for $25 million to resolve allegations of fraud, marking a dramatic fall from the university's bold beginnings. Trump University was just one of many bold promises that crumbled under scrutiny. A common thread in Trump's ventures, but the allure of Trump's name wasn't dimmed yet. Next, he took his ambition to the dinner table with Trump Steaks, another high-stakes promise that would soon go up in smoke. But in typical Trump fashion, the failures wouldn't stop there. It's 2007, and Donald Trump's name is stamped on just about everything. Hotels, casinos, bottled water, and now steaks. Yes, steaks.
Trump steaks are by far the best tasting, most flavorful beef you've ever had.
Branded as the world's greatest steaks, Trump Steaks promised to deliver a taste of luxury right to your dinner table, with prices that reached as high as $1,000 for a premium package. And of course, Trump himself was at the center of the pitch, appearing in commercials, knife in hand, slicing into what he declared to be the best steaks you'll ever have. But here's where reality took a sharp turn. The steaks were sold through The Sharper Image, a store known for quirky electronics and gadgets, not gourmet food. Customers found the combination baffling. Why buy luxury steaks from a gadget store? Despite the flashy marketing and Trump's larger-than-life persona, the product didn't catch on. The steaks were overpriced, and the market positioning just didn't make sense. Within a few months, Trump Steaks quietly vanished from the shelves. This wasn't just a case of bad meat, it was a misfire in branding and market understanding. Trump believed his name could sell anything, but steaks from a tech store? Not even close. It was a classic case of overreach, where Trump's belief in his brand's power didn't match up with consumer reality. Trump Steaks showed that even a premium product wasn't safe from missteps when branding overreached reality. But if overpriced steaks could fizzle, Trump thought, why not a luxury drink? Next up was Trump Vodka. Success distilled, or so it seemed. But like the steaks, not every promise is as satisfying as it sounds. In 2006, Donald Trump set his sights on the liquor market with an audacious new venture. Trump Vodka, branded as Success Distilled. Packaged in sleek, gold-accented bottles that promised luxury and sophistication, it was yet another extension of the Trump brand, a supposed symbol of the billionaire lifestyle. Trump boldly claimed it would be the most requested vodka in America, convinced that his name alone could dominate even the most saturated markets. Trump vodka was marketed with all the glitz and glamour you'd expect, complete with flashy ads and Trump's characteristic boasting.
Well, this was an idea that my people came up with. They said there's a great need for something very high level, very high style, and that's what we have, and it's been a real success.
It was the drink for those who wanted to live like billionaires, a message hammered home with every golden bottle. But behind the luxurious facade, the vodka itself was struggling to make a splash. Initial buzz quickly fizzled as distribution issues arose, and Trump vodka couldn't gain traction in a fiercely competitive market. Reviews were lukewarm at best, and bartenders were hardly rushing to stock it. Adding to the irony, Donald Trump doesn't drink alcohol, making his endorsement feel as hollow as the promises surrounding the product. One critic even quipped that Trump vodka was all flash, no substance, echoing the sentiment of a market that simply wasn't buying into the hype. By 2011, just 5 years after its glitzy debut, Trump vodka had disappeared from shelves. It was quietly discontinued, leaving behind a few dusty bottles and a lesson in market misalignment. It was a stark reminder that not even the Trump brand could manufacture demand out of thin air, especially in a market as crowded as premium vodka. But Trump wasn't just betting on booze. Around the same time, he took a gamble in another arena, real estate financing, just as the housing market was teetering on the brink. Next up, Trump Mortgage, where the timing couldn't have been worse, and the losses even steeper. In 2006, Donald Trump dove into the real estate financing market with Trump Mortgage, launching just as the housing bubble was starting to burst. Marketed as a game changer for the mortgage industry, Trump Mortgage promised to leverage Trump's real estate brand and offer expert guidance on home loans. But the timing couldn't have been worse. Trump boldly claimed it would become a leader in the industry, boasting about the top-tier team he'd supposedly assembled. But from the start, it was clear the company was in over its head. He appointed E.J. Ridings as CEO, who advertised himself as a Wall Street veteran, but his credentials turned out to be highly exaggerated. A Money magazine article revealed that Ridings had only a limited background in the industry, calling into question the leadership at the helm of this ambitious new venture. That lack of credibility set the tone for what followed. As the housing market teetered on the brink, Trump Mortgage floundered. Mortgage defaults were surging, credit was tightening, and Trump Mortgage couldn't get its footing. Despite all the hype, it quickly sank under the weight of bad loans and mismanagement. One analyst described it as a perfect storm of poor timing, lack of expertise, and Trump's overblown confidence. By 2007, less than 2 years after its grand debut, Trump Mortgage was done, another overhyped venture that failed to deliver. It wasn't just bad timing, it was a glaring case of overreach and misjudgment, adding to Trump's growing list of ventures that fell far short of their promises. But if real estate financing proved too risky, Trump's ambition had already taken flight in the literal sense. Let's rewind to the late 80s and check out Trump Shuttle, where the turbulence was more than just in the air. Back in the late 80s, Trump had his eyes set on the skies. In 1989, he launched Trump Shuttle, a luxury airline that promised to revolutionize air travel with glitz and glamour. Trump purchased Eastern Air Shuttle, rebranded it with his signature gold and black, and vowed to bring first-class service to the busy shuttle routes between New York, Boston, and Washington, D.C. It was a bold move, and Trump was betting big on his brand's ability to lure in the high-flying clientele. The planes were outfitted with gold-colored accents, leather seats, and even chrome seatbelt latches, all designed to scream luxury. But behind the flashy exteriors, the business was turbulent from the start. Trump's timing couldn't have been worse. The airline industry was reeling from rising fuel costs and a recession. And despite all the gold and glamour, Trump Shuttle struggled to differentiate itself from competitors who were offering the same routes at lower prices. Operational issues piled up. The airline was burning through cash at an unsustainable rate, and Trump's attempts to secure financing were shaky at best. A former executive later recounted how Trump's grand visions often clashed with the practical realities of running an airline. By 1992, after just 3 years of turbulent operation, Trump Shuttle was taken over by creditors, another casualty of Trump's overambitious ventures. Trump Shuttle wasn't just a failed airline, it was a high-flying symbol of how even in the sky, Trump's reach often exceeded his grasp. And if the skies proved too turbulent, Trump's luck wasn't much better on the ground. Next, we land at the Trump Taj Mahal, a casino venture that promised the world but left behind a trail of debt and disappointment. In the early 90s, Donald Trump made a bold move into the world of high-stakes gambling with the opening of the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. Billed as the eighth wonder of the world, the casino was Trump's most ambitious project yet. A sprawling, opulent resort that he promised would dominate the East Coast's gambling scene. With its crystal chandeliers, gold leaf decor, and a 120,000-square-foot casino floor, the Taj Mahal was a symbol of excess and Trump's signature flair. But the cost of building such a colossal monument to luxury was staggering, and Trump financed the $1 billion project primarily through high-interest junk bonds. The grand opening was a spectacle, but beneath the glitz, the financials were shaky from the start. One former executive noted that relying on junk bonds was like building a castle on quicksand, foreshadowing the inevitable collapse. Interest payments alone were suffocating the casino's cash flow, and the promised hordes of gamblers didn't materialize at the levels needed to cover the massive debts. By 1991, just a year after its grand opening, the Taj Mahal was in trouble. Unable to meet its debt obligations, Trump was forced to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Trump's involvement with the Taj Mahal ended in 2009 when he lost the majority of his stake, but the casino's financial woes continued under different owners until its closure in 2016. Trump's entry into the casino industry became a cautionary tale of grandiose ambition clashing with financial reality. The eighth wonder of the world was now a monument not to success, but to the perils of overreach and the fragile nature of high-stakes bets. Years later, after being banned from major social media platforms, Trump faced a new challenge: finding a way to keep his voice in the public sphere. The solution? Create his own platform to broadcast his message directly to his followers. And so, Truth Social was born, a venture that promised to disrupt big tech, but like his other ambitious projects, has faced its own set of challenges and controversies. After being banned from major social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, for violating their policies on misinformation and incitement of violence, Donald Trump found himself without a digital megaphone. His influence, once amplified by millions of followers, was suddenly muted. Determined to regain control over his messaging and bypass what he called the censorship of big tech, Trump decided to create his own platform, Truth Social. Launched in 2022 with the promise of being a free speech haven.
There's a place where your voice matters. A place where freedom of expression is cherished and the love of our great country unites us. Join a platform that passionately defends our great nation while delivering breaking news, discussion, and original content. Because here at Truth Social, we believe in the power of our voices.
Truth Social aimed to disrupt big tech and provide a platform for open dialogue. But from the start, it was clear that the road ahead wouldn't be smooth. Technical glitches plagued the launch, and early adopters experienced constant crashes and bugs that frustrated users right out of the gate. The platform struggled to scale, with user growth far below expectations, casting doubt on its viability. Financial instability soon became another hurdle. Despite initial interest, Truth Social faced funding challenges, and reports of unpaid bills and financial mismanagement began to surface. Investors who believed in Trump's vision poured their money into the venture, hoping it would be the next big thing in social media. But as time went on, it became clear that Truth Social was struggling to fulfill its grand promises. Controversies also followed the platform, with critics arguing that it served more as an echo chamber for Trump's base than a true forum for free speech. In August 2024, Trump stepped outside his own platform's bounds with a high-profile interview on X with Elon Musk. This departure from Truth Social's exclusive draw dealt a significant blow to its appeal, and in the 3 weeks following the interview, the stock of Trump's media company gradually lost nearly 30% of its value. It was a stark reminder that even with his own platform, Trump's control over the narrative was slipping. Today, Truth Social stands as one of Trump's more recent ventures, a platform that promised to revolutionize social media, but has faced ongoing challenges with financial woes, technical issues, and diminishing user growth. It's a familiar tale of grand promises and harsh realities, fitting neatly into the pattern of Trump's other business missteps. From luxury casinos to social media platforms, Trump's ventures often promised more than they could deliver. Whether driven by bold promises or the need to control his narrative, these aren't just tales of ambition, They're lessons in the pitfalls of overconfidence and the cost of overreach. In the end, even the biggest names can stumble when their ventures rest on shaky foundations. Enjoyed uncovering the real stories behind these business flops? Subscribe for more deep dives into the ups and downs of the business world. Thanks for watching.